Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a pretty big idea from a company called Linkspreed. They're talking about something called Web4, and they've tied it to a really eye-catching offer, 100 gigabytes of free cloud storage. So let's dig in and figure out what this is all about and if it could actually change the game for data ownership. Okay, let's kick this off with a feeling I'm sure we've all had. You get that dreaded storage almost full notification on your phone or computer. You know the drill. You start scrambling, deleting precious photos and videos, just trying to make some room. It's a constant, frustrating cycle in our digital lives. But here's the thing. The source material we're looking at argues that this isn't just about running out of space. It's about a much bigger, more fundamental trade-off. For years, the deal has been pretty simple. You get free stuff like storage or social media, and in return, you basically pay with your personal data and your privacy.
So what's the alternative they're proposing? Well, they're calling it a new era, Web4. Now, it's really important to point out that this seems to be their specific vision, not necessarily what the entire tech industry sees as the next step after Web3. But the big promise here is a huge shift in power, moving away from that old model towards something called data sovereignty.
So what in the world is data sovereignty? Well, at its heart, it's the idea that you, not some giant tech company, are in complete control. Your photos, your documents, your entire digital identity, it all belongs to you and only you get to say how it's used. It's a total reimagining of who owns what online.
Now, to make a big vision like Web4 actually work, you need a new kind of key to unlock this digital world. And the source explains that the entire foundation for their system is a piece of technology it calls the UIID.
And that key is the UID. You can think of it like a master key for their entire Web4 concept. It's designed to do a lot more than just replace the dozens of passwords you're juggling. The goal is to completely change how you prove who you are and how you interact with everything online. So how does this thing actually work under the hood? Well, the whole system is built around a really unique two-part structure for your digital identity. This isn't just some one-size-fits-all ID card for the internet. And this is where it gets pretty clever. It's built on a novel two-part approach. The whole point is to give you the flexibility to manage your privacy differently depending on what you're doing, whether it's something serious or just casual browsing. And this breaks it down perfectly. Okay, so on one side, you have your core ID. Think of this as your official, verified, trustworthy identity. It's for the high-stakes stuff like banking or anything that needs KYC. Then on the other side, you have aliases. And you can create an unlimited number of these. They're like disposable pseudonyms for everything else. Signing up for newsletters, posting on forums, you name it. And the most important part, they can't be traced back to your core ID. So this UID is supposed to do way more than just let you log in without a password. It's aiming to deliver these 4 key things. You've got secure passwordless authentication. You get true data ownership. Then there's something they call existential portability, which means you can take your data and your reputation with you anywhere you go online. And finally, there's this really cool idea of data minimization. Let's make that last point super clear with an example. Imagine you need to prove you're over 18 to get into a website. Normally, you'd have to show an ID with your name, your address, your exact birthday, all this extra info. With this system, you could just give a cryptographic yes to the question, are you over 18, without revealing any of that other sensitive data. That's data minimization in a nutshell. All right, so that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. We've talked about the problem, we've talked about the proposed tech solution. So how does all of this connect to that free 100 gigabytes from Linkspreed? Well, it's pretty simple. The company is using this offer, a pretty generous 100 gigs of free cloud storage, as the hook. It's the incentive to get people to sign up, create a UID, and start using their new Web4 ecosystem. But hang on, it's not just a one-click sign up. There are a few steps involved. You have to sign up for the UID, sure, but then you have to complete a verification step for your core ID. And that second step right there, that's the crucial part. So here's the deal. To unlock that full 100 gigabytes, you have to do a one-time Know Your Customer or KYC verification. Now, the company says this is to prevent bots and abuse and to make sure the users are real people. But this is also the moment of trade-off, isn't it? You are anchoring all that pseudonymous freedom to a single real-world identity that's held by this one system. So, we've looked at the problem of who owns our data, we've looked at the tech solution they're proposing with Web4 and the UIID, and we've seen the practical offer they're using to get people on board.
that brings us to the big picture takeaway from all of this. And it really all boils down to this one big question. Does a model like this, where a single, verified core ID is the key to everything, represent a real shift toward you and I owning our own data? Or is it just a slicker, more sophisticated version of sign-in with Google, creating a brand new centralized gatekeeper for our digital lives? It's a fascinating question to chew on as we all try to figure out what the future of our identity online is going to look like.